What is going on, everybody? Today we're going to analyze the tape of linebacker Micah Baskerville, who was in his second year with the Chicago Bears. This is a guy that's been absolutely flashing every single time I put the defensive tape on of the Chicago Bears. This guy's all over the field making plays, and this past week he made a couple of really nice plays, and I'm excited to get into this guy's tape. Second year linebacker out of LSU. I think Ryan Poles may have found a contributor with Bakersfield. We're going to get into it. Very excited for this one. Let's just get right into the tape. Alrighty guys, I want to get right into this video and talk about Micah's ability to cover because I think that is easily his best trait. One of the things you see with Bakersfield on tape is the guy is very smart in coverage. He moves well. He covers a man as opposed to covering an area, and I'll show you guys examples of exactly what I mean when I say that. But one of the things you're going to see on tape with this guy is he is smart. He sees things, he reacts well, and he times things perfectly. You know, this pick 6 right here is a great example of that. You got a 2nd and 15. He ends up not getting in front of the running back, but he's close enough where he recognizes if the quarterback throws this pass, he'll jump it. And to me, this is perfect. This is a perfect job baiting by Micah Baskerville on this one. He sees the quarterback try to throw it to the running back. He jumps it. He intercepts the pass. And then he has the athleticism to take it back the distance. But this play by any means is not the only positive play he had in pass coverage. There are so many examples like that on tape where this guy just moves really well. He does a great job in cover 2 zone or cover 1 man-to-man, and he does a really good job covering a man and not necessarily covering grass. And you know, it's a really important idea and concept to understand because, you know, if you guys look at certain guys, it might be a boundary corner, it might be, you know, this nickel defender or whatever it is. If no one's within distance, they're going to kind of just stand in a zone and they're going to just kind of cover a spot on the field. And rarely do you see a guy actually turn to a wide receiver, find the nearest guy and mirror it, right? Get in front of it, stay underneath it, run with it, right? I mean, this is perfect. He gets right underneath it. He sticks with that guy long enough until he runs out of his zone. I mean, to me, that's what you need right there. You need a guy that's able to understand where he has to be, but then actually cover guys. And you see that play in, play out. And it's just part of what makes this guy a smart football player, specifically in coverage. Now, the linebacker has played over 80 snaps in preseason so far this season, and he really has not been tested by opposing quarterbacks. And a big part of that is because he's doing a really good job in coverage. And you're not going to throw it to someone that's covered. I mean, that's kind of a given. But there's a lot of good plays like this one. So on this play here, it's going to be a split zone action, and essentially it's going to be a bootleg towards the top. The running back's going to end up going towards the right of the formation. And with that, you'll also see a tight end end up crossing, and you'll see the linebacker recognize that. So on this play, linebacker is going to first and foremost try to fit the run. As soon as he recognizes the play, he's going to change direction. And he's going to get right underneath number 85 here. To me, this is absolutely perfect coverage. As a quarterback, this is one of your options. This is one of the guys you want to potentially throw the football to. But it's taken away essentially, and the quarterback ends up just running with the football. So again, to me, that's a really good job right there. To be able to recognize the play, to be able to get underneath it. Micah Baskerville in coverage is very smart. And again, I think this is one of the reasons why he's having success, right? I think this is one of the reasons why the Bears have kept him around. I watched some of his tape from last season as well, because I had a feeling that there's no way you can only be good in coverage in 1 year. And his tape from last year does not lie. It's literally the same thing. So many good snaps. You see all the little things. And I'm not 100% sure if he'll end up making the roster of the Bears this year. You know, the Bears do have some good linebackers, but there are a lot of plays where this guy does a good job. And I think there's a good chance this guy might end up getting picked up by a team. There's a chance someone's recognized the upside that this guy has shown in coverage. And never underestimate the fact that linebackers generally are not good in coverage. Most linebackers that are good in coverage are former safeties. They're guys that played safety that have converted to linebacker, and those guys struggle with the run a little bit. And Micah Baskerville's not great against the run, but he's pretty decent. We're going to get into his run defense here next, and we're going to get into kind of what he's shown against the run. Again, I think he's done a pretty decent job against the run. But of course, he can continue to improve. And I just kind of want to point it out. You know, he tries baiting the quarterback almost on this one as well. You know, this one's not as much of a bait, but like, you know, he recognizes his responsibility. You know, it's a cover 3. He's one of 2 linebackers that drops right into the middle of the defense. And he also recognizes the running back is going to be one of the guys that could potentially get the football. And he steps up within this one. And it's just a good job. It's just smart football. Now let's go ahead and get into his run defense a little bit. We'll look at some of the positive things, and then we'll get into some of the negative things. So he does do a good job running, right? And I think that's a reason why he's good in coverage is because he's quick, he's fast, and he can move well. And that's one of the things that sticks out to me right away with this guy's tape. Now on this one here, you're going to get a pin pull towards the left of the screen here. To me, this tackle gives it away. Like you can just tell he's getting ready to pull towards the left of the screen. And I'm not sure if Bakersville actually recognizes that, but he reads this pretty damn quickly. To me, I love the fact that he's able to process this so quickly. You see how much faster he's able to start running towards the left than some of the other linebackers, and he's going. And again, I'm not sure if he recognizes that tackle or if he just saw the tackle pull. You know, as a linebacker, one of the things you're taught is not 100% of the time, but generally speaking, offensive linemen will tell you exactly where the play is going. And on this one, he does a great job recognizing it. And you can see that this offensive lineman here is not going to be able to get there. And this is a very, very hard block to make, essentially. And with that, he's able to just kind of get past this. And he jumps the gap. He blows it up. This one lost 2 yards. So that's a really good job to be able to get in the backfield and make the tackle. And you got another play here where he's going to do a great job avoiding the block. Just a really, really nice job being able to get past it, get underneath it. And again, I would say Micah Baskerville isn't the strongest. Right, he's more of on the quicker side. So it makes sense that this is how he would get past the block. You can tell he kind of dips past the guy. You know, he's not going to take him on head on. He almost kind of ducks past it, that's all right. You know, there's some linebackers that played this style of football, and there's nothing wrong with it. I'm pretty sure this is the type of football that Fred Warner plays as well. And most people think he's the best linebacker in the NFL. It's just a good job to avoid the block. Get around it, get in there, sniff it out. No yards on this one, just a really nice play. And I should note, you know, it's not like he can't play physical. It's not like he doesn't have the technique and the ability to get off of offensive linemen. All right, so here's a good example of that. Great job getting into the guard here. Hands land perfectly to the inside. This is exactly what you want to do as a defensive player. Hands land to the inside. You bench press, right? You create that separation, and then you shed him. That's a good job right there to be able to beat this guard. Of course, he doesn't actually make the play, but you're not going to make the play on every single play, right? All you can do is get around your blocks, get into your run fit, and do what's expected of you. You got another really, really nice play here by Bakersfield. You're going to get duo by the offense, and Bakersfield's going to do a great job being able to cover multiple gaps and essentially confusing the offensive lineman on this one. To me, this is perfect. This is exactly how you want to play this. And we're watching this in slow motion because you might not be able to tell what happens unless you watch this in slow motion. But as I stated, this is duo. So what's going to happen is you're going to get a double team on the defensive tackle here. And that double is supposed to go up to number 47. So on this play, when this double team happens here, if 47 steps into this gap here, it's the guard that's going to get off of him and pick him up. And with that, the tackle stays on the defensive lineman, and the running back just cuts it towards the left of that. Now, what's going to end up happening on this play initially is just that. Bakersville's going to step up to the inside gap. The guard's going to end up releasing, and the guard's going to end up going up to number 47. Now, as soon as the guard releases, Bakersville's actually going to jump this towards the left, as you see that right there. So what ends up happening is Bakersville does a really good job, as does the defensive tackle here. I think that's Keith Randolph, has good contact with the guard. He controls the guard. Bakersville's going to step towards the right. The guard's going to release. Bakersville's going to jump back towards the left. Then the tackle releases. And essentially, because the guard released and is in a bad spot now, and then the tackle releases at the same time, Bakersville's in one gap, and then Keith Randolph is in the other gap. That's a great job right there by those two guys to be able to essentially handle it the way it's handled. Now, to me, this is coaching, right? This is one of the coaching elements that people might not recognize that happens. You know, duo is one of those things that teams used to run a lot 30 years ago. It was a staple of the NFL, and it really went away for a long time, but it came back. And it came back to the highest we've ever seen people run duo over the past 2 years. And this year, there's teams that just run duo like consistently, right? Like the Rams run duo 70% of the time. And there's other teams that kind of run it that same way. So defensive coordinators have started designing ways to beat duo, especially against light boxes, right? Duo is essentially designed to take advantage of light boxes. So if you guys look at this play initially, 38 is outside the box, as is 30. And with that, what happens is there's not enough gaps with the guys up front. Now, you're going to see the safety does end up coming downwards. Regardless, the play's already called, so you're not going to really change out of that, especially in preseason. But what ends up happening is, you know, you're coaching your defensive linemen, you're coaching your linebackers You're coaching them on what to look for when those double teams happen. You're coaching them on what to do if you're a linebacker, if you're a defensive lineman. Right, as a defensive lineman, when you get double teamed, you are now taught to control one of those guys, right? So depending on what gap you're in this instance, you see Randolph in the 3 technique. You want to control that gap right there. Control the gap, and he does. He controls Randolph. He does not care about the double team. Right? He does not essentially care about that tackle making contact because he knows the tackle is going to release at some point. So as long as you control the guard, as soon as the tackle releases, you'll be in a good spot. And that's exactly what happens. Randolph ends up in there. And then at the same time, as a linebacker, you're being taught things a little bit different as well. Right? Now, I don't know exactly what Eberflus is teaching these linebackers or just a scheme that, you got the defensive side running. But it worked on this one, so it's a great job right there. Probably overly complicated this play, but I do love trench play. I do absolutely love to learn new things. And this is something that I've been learning a lot this past offseason. Every offseason I go and I'll take whatever scouting courses and things that I can find, and they teach you about what NFL teams are generally trying to do. And there's trends in the NFL, right? We saw Mike McDaniel revolutionize motion last year, right? You've never got a guy motioning outwards, and we got that last year for the first time. We got teams playing more 2 highs than ever before. So there's just things that are consistently changing. Now, another thing Micah Baskerville does a really good job at is blitzing and pressuring the quarterback. On this one, he absolutely crushes this guy. But I love the fact that essentially you're going to line up 2 guys in the A-gaps, right? So you're essentially simulating pressure. And because of 47 post-snap fakes like he's dropping out of there, the offensive linemen think that it's a simulated pressure, and the offensive linemen are going to now look to potentially go somewhere else. So you'll see that he's going to essentially end up going free because the offensive linemen don't really see it, or they're not able to process it properly. It's a really, really good design right there by the defensive coach. And that huge hit right there leads to an interception by Smith. So just a really, really good job. And you got another blitz on this one. He isn't able to actually get to the quarterback. You would have loved for him to actually make the tackle. But it's a nice play regardless to pressure the quarterback. And I do like the fact that he doesn't show anything, right? Like pre-snap, there's nothing that indicates 47 is coming on this blitz. He only comes post-snap. And this is designed really well as well because it is a blitz. And the front side defensive end of that blitz is going to slant super hard towards the inside, as are these defensive linemen. And then you're going to get 2 guys that come. You get the corner as well as the linebacker. And based off of the defensive end and how he slants super hard to the inside, you just don't have enough guys. It's a well-executed blitz. Man, it's perfect. Right? That's absolutely perfect right there. Does generate a little bit of pressure. Would have loved for him to actually make that play. But Micah Baskerville, man, he's a good football player. You definitely see what this guy might bring to the Chicago Bears. You might see some upside this year. He definitely looks better this year than he did last year. He's definitely getting off blocks a little bit better. I'm excited to see what this guy develops into as we kind of go forward. Will he actually make the Chicago Bears roster? I'm not 100% sure, but there's definitely some upside here. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, consider subscribing, and I will see you guys next time with another video.